Hello, and welcome to the next episode in TUPCast, the Untitled Podcasters podcast, where we talk about films and get heavily off topic. I am one of your hosts, Andrew. Alongside me are my two other hosts.
Steve
and Colby.
And today's episode, we're going to be talking a lot about Pixar. If you listened to our last episode, we talked about our favorite types of movies and a lot about our takes on DC and Marvel. So check that out if you get a chance. And so we'll just head right into this one now. Pixar. Someone
and
wants
then we'll
to
start with silence. Perfect.
All right.
All right, so I didn't realize that Pixar was started in 1995. So
Yes.
I was 5 and you guys weren't born yet.
I was -6.
Correction, I was more than likely floating around the cosmos at this point.
There you go.
All right. I was around, I just wasn't present.
The first Toy Story came out November 22nd, 1995, which is the first Pixar movie, and it was 2 days after my 5th birthday.
Did you go to see it in theaters?
Oh.
I don't think I did. I don't remember. Like, I don't have a fond memory. And I feel like that would be a fond memory at 5, is like seeing Toy Story on a big screen.
Yeah.
But I don't think I did. I remember Toy Story 2 on a big screen, but that was 1999, and I was, 9 years old. I don't remember Toy Story.
And I was -2 for that one.
Nice. So, you were born for Monsters, Inc. then, 2001, November 2nd.
Yes, I would have been 4 months old.
Nice.
No. Sorry, I'm an English major. I would have been 7 months old.
There you go.
Yeah.
They had a very specific release pattern when they first started. Like, they came out every 2 to 3 years in November.
I'm looking at that right now, too.
Now they're just pumping them out.
Yeah, they had like a strategy, apparently, I was reading, of making one new movie every year and then doing a sequel every other year. It was a weird strategy that they quickly abandoned when they realized how much money Pixar could make. So, but
right. Off topic, but I just popped into my head. You said you were 5 when Toy Story came out. Do you know what the first movie you saw in theaters was?
I think so. The first movie I have a memory of seeing, because I went for a birthday party, was the animated Hercules movie, which I think was like, I think that came out in like 97, so
something like that.
I think that's the first movie I remember in theaters, and I remember it was a birthday party. There was like 12 of us, and there was like one parent for all of us, and my mom thought she was crazy for doing that, but like went along with it. And also, when I was a kid, like whenever the big animated movie was in theaters, McDonald's always did like not just toys but collectibles that you could like pay. You could go to McDonald's and buy a Happy Meal, but if you paid like $2 extra, you could get a collectible Hercules plate.
What?
And there was
cool.
And there was like
Why don't
4
they do
of
that
them.
now?
Yeah, and there was like 4 or 5 of them. And if you got a Happy Meal, but you paid the little bit extra, you got the collectible plate. But of course, then you had to have all of them. So we had a lot of Happy Meals when those plates were out. They did that with all kinds of stuff. They did it with Beanie Babies. They did it with like these collectible glass, like Mickey Mouse mugs. McDonald's used to have cooler merchandise. Now they just have garbage.
True. It doesn't stop me from eating there too much, though.
Real quick,
I was
gonna say real quick to get off topic onto the McDonald's thing. Have either of you guys tried their new sauces?
I didn't. I just sweet and sour or bust for me.
Well, let me introduce you. They came out with 2 new sauces. One of them is called like Mamba sauce or something,
Okay.
and it's like a sweet and spicy barbecue sauce, but it's more spicy than sweet. It's really good. And the other one is like a sweet chili sauce or something. So if you like sweet and sour, Steve, you might like it. But
That's true.
I
I'm
think
not too much of a sauce person, but
as far as I know, I thought this was correlated with like the release of like a show or film or something, but I think
Just
it's just
random.
a new. Yeah, I think it's just new sauces. I thought they were trying to like do like a partnership or something, but I don't think so. I think it's just random sauces.
Huh. I'll have to
I
ask.
wasn't sure if it was like Loki related, but
That's true.
I think they're over that.
Yeah, that was a weird take. Unless it's in the show, but I don't. It seems weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
that's for another episode.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get into this, or? Well, no. Sorry, Andrew. What was the first movie you remember seeing?
Well, so the first movie my mother took me to see was The Polar Express. I don't remember seeing it.
But
And
that's
she took
what
me to see that.
old.
When did that
Well,
movie
yes,
come out?
so 2004. And it's because I was obsessed with Thomas the Train, and it was a Christmas movie about a train. So, I get a lot of hate. Can I say that's one of my like favorite Christmas movies because the animation is just god awful, and it is, and it's really creepy to look at sometimes. But it holds a place in my heart. But I think the first film I remember seeing in theaters was Alvin and the Chipmunks, which
Those
ironically
animals?
was the first movie. Was the first the one they like 2007 or something. It was the first movie my sister saw in theaters.
So
2007. Yep.
not bad. What about you, Colby?
No.
I feel like the first movie. Honestly, I have no idea. I know my mom has told me the first movie I went to see was Night at the Museum, but I don't even remember what year that came out.
I think that
I
was
don't
like
know if I have. I don't know if
early
I have
2000s.
memories of her telling me that, or if I actually have memories of seeing it.
Gotcha.
First one was '06.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I might have seen that one then. That might have been the first one I remember seeing in theaters.
You would have been like 9, 10, right?
06, I would have been 7.
Oh, okay. I had the years
Yeah,
off a little.
I was a wee baby.
Even weirder, I was 16.
Ew.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Gross. I was like driving cars and such.
Oh my god, I was just a little lad.
I was a littler lad, smaller.
Little lad. You're a little lad.
Yeah, I think Night at the Museum.
Cool.
I think that was the first one.
All right.
Those are good ones. Not bad. We have a good starting trio.
I suppose
Could be worse.
it's true.
All right, should we get into it?
Let's get
I'm
into it.
ready.
All right, Andrew, what's your number 5 Pixar movie?
This was difficult, and it was. This was like really tough to put something at number 5 because it's like borderline list or not. I'll tell you what my number 5 was, and if I could have number 6, it would be in the same franchise. But my number 5 is Finding Nemo.
Nice. So you're putting
And my
Finding
number
Dory at 6?
Yeah, because to me those movies like they take place like so close within each other that it's like a continuous story.
Yeah. See, I don't
Um,
like I like Finding Dory, but it just doesn't have the same caliber of like story and characters as the first one, like Finding Nemo.
mhm.
I just think the cast is better of fish, you know what I mean? There's just better fish in
Yeah.
Finding
Half
Nemo.
fish.
It's just better in the first one. You get turtles, you get sharks. Like the second one, you get Hank the octopus, which is big. That's a cool character. But like you get the dumb
Yeah.
whales. Like I can't do the dumb whales. And like the seals, isn't one of the seals voiced by
No. Whoa. Before
Idris
you talk
Elba?
bad about the seals, yes. The seals are the best part of that movie, and I will die on that hill.
And that bird, what's the
Nope.
bird? Becky?
I was
Bird?
Becky.
First time that I watched that movie, I think I rented it. I rewound the part with the seals 43 times. And I was crying, laughing because
Like, get off my
they were,
rock. Get off my rock.
that's the part. They were beating the crap out of that poor dude that just wanted to sit on the rock. I think his name was Gerald.
That's it. Just wanted to sit on the rock. That was it.
Yeah, his name was Gerald.
Yep. That's right, Gerald.
Gerald. And it was Idris Elba was one of the seals. He had like
Yeah,
4
he
lines
was.
in the whole movie.
Yeah, and it was Gerald. Get off the rock.
Hi, I'm Sigourney Weaver. Was the voice of the
Yeah, that
like
was weird.
the loudspeaker
Yep.
thing at the
I
aquarium.
remember that. Yeah.
But Finding Nemo is a superior film in my opinion.
I do
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
That's why you put it 5, right?
Right.
All right, you're up, Colby.
So interesting. My number 5 is also Finding Nemo.
Oh, lining up here.
This was not coordinated.
Oh
No.
yeah. You didn't share
I-
lists.
I threw this list together when I was in the shower, like half hour ago.
You were like water, fish, Finding Nemo, perfect.
That could very well be part of the reason.
So why Finding Nemo 5?
Hold on.
Holding.
Are you getting calculations from like another planet? Like
Are you like
No.
immersing yourself?
So I just attacked an itty bitty little spider that was crawling on my freaking screen.
Showed him who's boss.
You just
Oh,
can't have
man.
anything nice nowadays.
Spiders crawling all over it.
And I squished it with the closest thing I had to me, which was a piece of plastic, and it fell on my keyboard, and I killed it, and now there's just crust on my keyboard. So
It's just body
I might
parts
just-
everywhere.
I might just go cry. It kind of looks like there was a homicide or something.
So if your audio cuts out, it's just you threw the laptop across the room.
Well, I think it's dealt with. I think we're good. We're good now. We almost had a real big problem though.
You could have closed the laptop on him.
Yeah, I suppose that's an option. So going back to Finding Nemo, I feel like I might have seen this one in theaters. I think it came out in like 2003, so I don't know if I would remember that.
Yeah.
I'm a big ocean guy. I love the ocean. I love fish. I just think it's really cool, and I think that still to this day the animation in that movie holds up, and I think that is probably one of the best movies that has ever captured the underwater reality. Kind of like it looks like you're underwater.
Yeah.
Without it being like kind of jarring. It doesn't look like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
No offense, Andrew. I know you're a fan.
No, none taken.
And I think, yeah, especially being in 2003, I think the animation is just incredible. If anything, Pixar should be praised on how well some of the older animation is.
Especially considering Toy Story was the first animated feature film.
Which would have come out, 8 years prior? Which is not that long of a time.
Yeah, and granted, the animation in it isn't great, but it's not bad for being the first animated film. And like the reason that they and I like the strategy of making like it about the toys because they didn't have like the proper like funding or technology to animate humans properly.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how true it is, but I was reading an article about it where I guess all the people have the same face in the first Toy Story movie.
Yes, they do.
All of them have they're all identical faces because they couldn't animate different faces. They're all the same person. It's all just Andy's face on all of them.
It is,
they didn't know how, or it was too expensive?
I think it was a bit of both. I mean, even if you look at Andy's face, the animation is pretty rough.
So even Sid looks like them?
No, I think it was just Andy and Sid that they animated the faces. So all the other characters were pretty much just Andy's faces, I'm pretty sure. which is why you don't
'Cause
really
then
see them.
if you look at the other like Pixar films, like the next one that came out was A Bug's Life, no humans. Then Toy Story 2, which was a little advanced, and then Monsters Inc. and then Finding Nemo. And then like The Incredibles came after that, which is it's so like you can see like that was like just looking back on it, that's smart move to not, you know, put your focus on somewhere where you don't know it.
I will say
That makes
one of
sense.
Pixar's biggest strengths is actually making me care about things that I probably shouldn't care about. Like
Yep.
bugs. I don't like bugs, but Bugs Life is pretty great. Like they same with like monsters or cars or
Hmm.
whatever it is that they're trying to tell a story with. They do a great job at taking something that nobody cares about, giving it real emotion and giving it enough animation that you can actually relate to it and make it a likable thing.
Right.
Like fish, come on. I don't like fish,
You don't
but
like
Nemo.
fish?
Well, I mean, fish are all right.
They taste good.
Not hanging out. I'm not hanging out with flounders, but
Fish are friends, not food.
classic.
Was there any Colby? So that was your number five. Was there anyone that you were like borderlining top five with?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
maybe Up. I will say Up did not make my
Yeah.
top five, so maybe that one if I were to think of any.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing that I
I,
can.
I was just curious.
What about you, Steve?
Steve, you're up.
Number 5 for me is The Incredibles.
Good pick.
So
Yes,
I
very good pick.
I think The Incredibles is like a top 5 superhero movie of like the past 20 years. Like it's got to be, right?
I agree. I
Like
agree.
it's not the Marvel or DC movies, but like it's a forgotten superhero movie that like people don't think about or remember. I mean, it's probably
Hmm.
True.
because the sequel just like wasn't as good and it came like too far removed from the first one. But like it was I remember it being long for a Pixar movie, but it was good all the way through. It had a really good villain. Like the cast, like the family all had like different superpowers that were basically the Fantastic Four, but we
Yep.
won't talk about that part of it.
Never
Um
noticed that. Oh my god,
yeah, they're
You
basic I mean
seriously?
Stretch.
I've
Yeah,
never thought about that.
they're basically the Fantastic Four. Like there's
Yeah, they
slight
are.
variations.
A lot of
Oh,
people say that The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie.
my
That
mind
would
was
make
just
sense.
blown.
That's
I'm
what we do
shocked that you
here.
didn't know that, Colby.
I
We
I'm
blow
slacking.
minds.
All right? If it's not
Oh,
Star Wars, it ain't for me.
fair enough.
And yeah, it's just I think it has like a lot of like rewatchability. Like it's just like a cool movie to
Hmm.
have on in the background, and like you'll notice something different each time. Uh, like the side characters are really good. I mean, you get Frozone,
Yeah.
like you get Edna, the old lady who's just the suit designer.
Yep.
Syndrome's being the good
Edna's
villain.
the
Like
best.
it's just like a good cast of characters, and it like even though it was a superhero movie, it felt like an original idea, and it's just fun to
Hmm.
watch. I just the whole like ending sequence on the island, and then they have to like they can never work together there because he's doing secret missions and the kids aren't supposed to show their powers, but then they all have to like come together at the end, and it's like a family movie, so it's good stuff.
Um, so I like The Incredibles is also on my list. Um, the thing that I like about it is it has like a video game style animation. Like there's the scene, and it's the scene specifically that sticks out in my mind of when Mr. Incredible and Frozone are running through the fire. Like he turns to like the camera or sort of is like, "Come on, let's go," and waves them on, and like it looks like they're running in a video game. And I don't
Yeah,
know why. I just love that part of it.
I can see that. That makes sense to me.
Hmm.
All right, we move on to 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it, Andrew.
My number 4 is The Incredibles.
Nice. So you just basically touched on why it's your number 4.
Yes. So, I don't know. I'll elaborate just to give my impression on it. I love The Incredibles. Um, I don't want to talk too much about Incredibles 2 because even though you said it's less, it is also on my list here. So we'll do more when we get there. But when I was making this top 5 list, I struggled about where I was going to put the two Incredibles films. But I just like you said, Steve, you touched on a lot of the ideas that also thought of. It's rewatchable. It's entertaining. It's got like a family comedy aspect of it too that I think is just hilarious. Um, like just all like the one-liners, like kids talking to their parents and such, and like Dash is just putting the window up and down, and it has a lot of good like family moments too. And I think that's part of the reason I enjoy it so much as well.
Yeah, and they like sneak onto the plane because she can like go invisible, right? Yeah,
Right.
it's just got good scenes in it overall. And I like their powers, like their power, like when they land in the water because the plane gets blown out of the air, and she like
That is an
turns into a
incredible
boat.
scene. No pun
She like
intended.
turns into a
Yeah.
boat, and he like runs. It's really cool, like really original,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, Violet didn't really contribute much.
Not there at least,
No.
but
No, she was just kind of sitting there watching.
well,
Yeah.
she's like
Dash
an
stole
angsty
that
teenager.
scene.
So.
Yeah.
All right, Colby, your number 4.
So I chose Toy Story 3. I was
3.
Interesting.
Yep. So all right, here's my explanation. All right, hear me out.
I didn't say anything. I want to make sure I
So
heard 3.
yep. So Toy Story 3. I was torn between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 1. The reason I picked 3 is because I think it was such a phenomenal culmination of the Toy Story trilogy. I think that they wrapped it up, put a bow on it, and shipped it off perfectly to end the series.
And then made another one.
It should have ended at 3. Not to say Toy Story 4 was bad, but they had something with Toy Story 3. It was perfect.
Yeah,
There
I
was
do agree.
a lot of comedy. There was a lot of emotion. Just the basic story of it was creative enough. I mean, you took the toys that spent time with Andy, spent time with Sid, spent time with Bonnie, and then shipped them off to a preschool. Like that's just it sounds so simple, but it is such a genius idea. And so you get to see them interact with a bunch of toys that we might not have otherwise. How they react with other kids, and then of course you get a evil dictator that I'm a sucker for. Gotta love him until you.
Absolutely.
And I mean that ending scene with like the trash compactor and stuff that just tugs on those heartstrings, man. Have you guys ever seen the edit where the kid makes it so the movie ends right there and the mom thinks that all the toys die?
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
think you were telling us about that.
I'll say we talked about that like last week, I think.
Yeah,
Or the week
it's
before.
so funny.
But it's hilarious.
So I mean, yeah, Toy Story 3 is number 4 for me. I locked in.
I love Toy Story, and like it's just like there's that scene like when they're about to get like incinerated, and they just like they hold like Woody just looks off, and then he looks back to Buzz, and Buzz just like offers his hand. He's like this is it. Like they've all accepted that they're gonna die,
Yeah,
and then
it's so emotional. That's
this
when
is a children's movie.
It's no longer a kid's movie at that point.
But I will take this to my grave. The greatest callback in the history of cinema is in that movie, in that scene, when the aliens pull them out and go, "The claw!"
Yeah, I was just gonna say that had the biggest payoff ever. That's how they were saved by the claw.
I know this is a audio recording, but I have goosebumps on my arms right now.
Yeah,
and then of course, what's the end there when Andy says goodbye to the toys too? Like, I'm admittedly an emotional person, but I don't cry. I think I cry a lot when I watch that scene.
Especially when he like pulls Woody back, doesn't he? Like start to
Yeah,
give it to her, and then he pulls it back, and you're like, oh, he doesn't
yeah.
want
Oh my
to.
god, that just breaks your heart.
And it's a toy, an animated toy. Toys aren't real, but they've done it. They've perfected the art of making toys like relatable and emotional.
That's
Or
why it's
are they
just so
real?
cool.
And we're just not looking.
I don't know. Sometimes I think they are. My shit moves all
I
the
don't know.
time, and I'm like, I didn't put it there.
I'm staring at my
But
uh, Fred and George Weasley minifigures right now, and if anyone's gonna move, it's gonna be them.
that's true. That was a good choice.
All right, Steve.
Is it me?
Yep.
So
Yes.
my number 4 is Up. I have always been a fan of this movie just because I think grumpy old men are hysterical. Um,
Yes.
I like the idea of not moving and not like becoming like not like moving to the man. Like you're just like, nope, I'm just gonna stick it out here forever, and then he just decides to fly his house away. Is so cool. Um, Arguably like the craziest emotional arc in the first 10 minutes of a movie ever.
Oh
Because
my
like
god, I got
Yes.
whiplash.
Yeah.
they like fall in love and they're cute and weird and awkward and they get married and they have adventures and then she dies. Like in the first
In
10
that
minutes of the
order.
movie. Yeah. And it's just like, whoa, what are we watching here? And then he's like a disgruntled, like Clint Eastwood type character, and he meets this annoying little kid by accident, sort of, and then they just go on this wild adventure that has like so many good funny moments and like the tennis ball on the bottom of his walker and Doug and Kevin and the dogs with the collars that makes them, you know, speak human words and then they change the settings and
Yeah.
it's just like a fun journey movie and it like culminates in him like having a change of heart and like being there and I just think Russell is a great little side character for him and they're just like a good team that shouldn't be a good team, and it's just
Hmm.
like a fun movie to watch time and time again. That's what I got for
Yes.
Up,
Yes.
and it looks really
I
good.
think that. Yeah, the visuals in that movie are really good too. I think that that movie also gets judged, for lack of a better term, on its opening. Like when you talk about Up, that's the first thing people think about.
Yeah,
And
it's always the first thing I ever think about.
which, to no fault to anyone, that's just how we remember it because of how powerful it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
All right. Number 3.
You're up.
Yep.
My number 3 is Cars. This was a bit of a controversial thing last week. Um, I know Steve is not a fan of Cars. Um, and I believe it's because you said it was overrated, and I can tell you I was probably one of the people who made it overrated. Um, I love that movie just because, like, you shouldn't care about cars like that. And I know people do treat cars like people
Yeah.
in weird ways in the world, but like I don't know. I love that movie. I like Mater is hilarious. Like the story of like Doc, um, and like Lightning, like trying to prove himself. And like the last race there, when Lightning like stops before crossing the line, and then like goes back to like push the King. Is that his name? Um, Across is like it's just so heartfelt. But I think my favorite moment in that movie is when Guido and Luigi change the tires.
There
I
are
wouldn't
some like
know.
Because
really good moments in that movie.
it's just so funny. Cause Steve, it's like the opposing car team is like making fun of them because they're not like fancy or like in uniform or anything, and then Lightning comes in for a tire change, and like they do it like in record time and just blow them away.
So in the first Cars, because I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to separate the Cars movies. Don't they like
Yep.
he like goes off into a town in the middle of the desert for a good chunk of the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the second
And
one.
what's weird is they
Rigier
literally
Springs.
hold hostage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
do.
just remember hanging out in a desert for like an hour, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, what are they doing? Like, what is he doing? Like, why are we doing this? I don't want to be here. It's dry.
It's dry.
I just don't. I don't get the appeal of this one. Nothing against
You
it.
know,
I just
those
don't
cars
get the
need to
appeal of it.
hydrate.
I know, and it's just dry,
Um,
and it's not for race cars. It's for maters, a bunch of maters.
Bunch of maters.
oh,
Imagine a
Mater.
field full
But
of
my friend,
maters.
I'm a Mater.
So I will add on to I do enjoy the first two car movies. One thing that really confuses me every time, it's one of those things where you just gotta forget everything you know. I don't understand how the universe in cars works. Okay, so you have cars that are
Cars.
sentient beings,
Uh-huh.
and they can speak and feel and do all that other stuff. But then you have in that same movie, they have like the tractors that are cows essentially.
Yeah,
I
that's what you're
don't
thinking of, Steve. I think with the Field of
understand.
Maters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand what
Like they go cow
distinguishes.
tipping.
But then also in that same scene, I'm pretty sure there's like another tractor that's just like a normal person. So I don't get it.
That's right.
That
Yeah.
that,
No,
that blows
I
my mind.
yeah.
Don't they paint him blue in the third one too? Like, what's that about?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about the third one. I
I
stopped
don't
after
know.
two because two was perfect. I made her is all I needed. I didn't need nothing else.
Yeah. All right. There's Andrew's number 3.
Me
Lee,
next. Me
You're up,
next.
what's
Cole.
yours?
I'm holding my hand, but you can't see it.
No,
My number 3 is Wally. Okay,
Wally.
Wally. I love that
Wally.
little rusty box. Okay, that little guy is just great. He's adorable,
Eva.
and I got to tell you, I want to live on that ship. I want it.
That's where we're headed.
I don't necessarily want to be one of those people per se, but I
Yep.
do want to live on that ship for sure.
Gotcha.
Wally's another one of those movies where it's just like I'm a big CGI and animation guy. I love graphics and all that stuff. And the animation in Wally has always just blown my mind. You start the movie, you're on a apocalyptic version of Earth. Everything's decaying, everything's rusted, everything's just literal garbage. And so you go from that transition where everything looks so rough and coarse and stuff, and then you go on top of onto the ship, and everything is so shiny. It all has a like a perfect shine on it, and so I didn't even realize that was possible in animation. But it looks like you're literally looking at a polished floor, a polished robot, and it always catches my eye every time I see that movie. It just looks so stunning. And I mean, the story's all right too, but they're just fighting over.
It's
Yeah.
bad. So I had Wally as an honorable mention because it just couldn't. I couldn't
As did I.
squeeze it in. I couldn't squeeze it in, but it's right there. And it's like it's not like there's no dialogue. It's not a dialogue movie, which is and it's
Yeah, that's
still
what
like
I was gonna
captures.
say. It's interesting
Just
that there's like out of the hour and a half movie that it is, they probably only talk in the movie for like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I can't imagine it's that long. There's not a lot of dialogue. It's crazy that they have such a I don't know, a kids movie with such little dialogue that is so popular, especially with
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here too. Is like so. Andrew Stanton directed A Bug's Life. or co-directed A Bug's Life, and then he directed Finding Nemo, and then his next movie was Wall-E. Like, I don't think necessarily like Wall-E feels like a hard movie to greenlight with like Disney and Pixar, but if you're getting a director that's already like crushed it with A Bug's Life and Finding Nemo, I think you let him get after it, and I think he did well with what it is. Because if you really think about the movie, like that'd be tough to green light from a Disney point of view. A movie about a robot on a planet that has nothing left. Like, how are you gonna make
And
that
nobody
look cool?
Oh, well, that's like, but like, that's like, you think about that with like any movie, like what it actually boils down to. Like, for me, like my go-to, because I was talking about this with my students the other day about something or other, and I made like the comparison to like Harry Potter. Like, just like think of that about like the basic premise of it, and then how big a phenomenon it is.
Yeah, just like has to pick up steam. Like somebody has to think it's big enough to make into like a universe and keep going with it.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you get theme parks.
Theme parks. I don't know if we're gonna
Listen,
because like obviously I would say the biggest example of that has got to be Star Wars. Like that's the biggest make believe universe that we have, and then
Mhm.
Harry Potter is probably second, unless you count Disney as like as like a whole as being second or third. Like there's really only
Yeah.
those three giant universes of super fandom, I would say. Like I don't know
Mhm.
what else you could count in that same measure.
like I think there's other films and stuff that have massive cult followings. Like I know Star Trek has a big following, Lord of the Rings has a big following, but nothing storms the planet like a Harry Potter following or Star Wars. Like yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like
Right.
Harry Potter and Star Wars are just in their own league. I think Marvel is definitely up there, but I don't think it has the same devout
Different.
following as those other two.
Yeah. Because, well,
Like
also with Harry Potter tells a complete story.
yeah, it's
As
finished. It's
you know,
through and through. You start
as
it, you
does Lord of
finish
the
it.
Rings.
I think the difference with them is I feel like the different levels of passion. Star Wars fans are so passionate about Star Wars. Harry Potter fans are so passionate about Harry Potter. I think if Marvel fans were as passionate about Marvel as those other ones, it might be up there. But I think specifically like MCU fans, it teeters on the edge too often. There's highs and lows
Mhm.
constant. It's a movie comes out, everybody's like, that movie was the best thing I've ever seen on the planet, or it's like, we're done, Marvel's burning in a trash fire.
Yep.
Like, there's
They've
no
been in
in
that
between.
trash fire for a while.
Yeah, they still haven't recovered, and I don't think they will. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, no,
I think that
it's definitely on the par with those.
um, with the just mention of like franchises that are followings, I'm interested in seeing how Percy Jackson does with the Disney Plus show coming out. Because the book, as a part of that fandom, like has a huge fandom. But we're definitely like low key, like not nearly as big as Harry Potter or Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings. But I wonder if it's just because it in the media it hasn't had its time yet.
yeah, I
So
don't know
Well,
much about them. It's like a wait and see.
I know they came
yeah,
out with was there two movies? Was that it?
yeah.
Was
So
there ever plans to make a third one?
there are 5 books in the original series, and there was a plan to make 5 movies. The first film, for what it is as a movie, is a great movie. As an adaptation, I challenge you to find me a worse adaptation.
Really?
Yep. And I got into that franchise by seeing the first movie, and I thought it was really good. So I read the book, and the book was a million times better. And then I rewatched the first movie, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. The second film tries to right the wrongs of the first film, and performed badly because of that, and then they just decided not to go ahead with the final 3 films.
Interesting.
So now the
Yeah,
Disney
I am
Plus show
intrigued
that they're
by
doing is like a direct adaptation. The author of the books is like an executive producer on it. It's got potential, and I'm very, very excited for it. And that's that.
I just don't know like anything about it, so I don't have anything to add, unfortunately.
That's okay. It's a great book series
I
if you
guess,
get the chance.
what is your
Nice.
next movie, Steve? What's your third?
Oh, we're up to mine. My number 3 is Monsters Inc. Um,
Nice.
I've always just thought that Monsters Inc. is just like fun. There's just like a fun
Hmm.
movie, a good premise, and like Boo is like one of the cutest characters in any of the Disney movies. Um, just like
Absolutely.
just like running around in that like fake monster costume and scaring the crap out of people. And like I don't know, Monsters Inc. is like a hard one to like describe and talk about, but there's just like something fun about the whole movie, and like the owner of the place is the bad guy, and Randall's the bad guy, and the crazy lady at the
Yeah.
desk is working for the good people, and there's like so many layers to it.
Wazowski.
Yeah, it's just you gotta finish your paperwork. Like it's just one of those
Haven't filed my
fun
paperwork
rewatchable
lately.
movies. And there's just so many like little things like even just they go in the locker room at one point and he's like, "Can I get some of your deodorant? I forgot mine or whatever." And it's like hot garbage or something. Like it's
Yeah.
just
It was
little
like
stuff like that
uh,
I always
garbage and wet
appreciate.
dog.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I
My
like the
that
scene
one's
in. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when he loses Boo, and when she like gets tagged along the tour of the building or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he thinks she gets crushed into the garbage cube. His facial expression gets me every single time.
I'm
And
just
so
laughing
there's
thinking
been a
about
few
that.
times where I'll just keep pausing the movie and just dying looking at his facial expressions because he's mortified.
Haven't they been trying to get Boo's broken door as like a Lego idea set?
They've been
I don't
every
know.
idea has been on Lego ideas. I have no clue.
I think I've seen it about a bunch of times get to like 10,000, but then they don't make it. Like
Yeah.
that would be a cool
I
set.
it would.
It would.
Sorry. Again, audio. I'm just staring off into the distance in awe, thinking of Boo's door as a Lego set.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think it would be
I think
relatively easy to build on your own.
I think a buildable Mike Wazowski would be awesome.
Mike Wazowski bust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be just lime green.
That would be
Everything.
so. Yeah. Oh my god.
Uh, no, just a Roz bust.
Oh
That
yes,
has
Oh, I'd
course.
buy that. I'd buy that day one.
of course.
what's the remember George Sanderson gets like a sock on his back. What do they yell?
So
2319.
2319. That's what it is. Yeah.
We went to back to
2319.
McDonald's. Back to McDonald's again. We went to McDonald's the other day and we went inside because the drive-through line was really big. And
Naturally.
we try to use the machine, like the touch screen or whatever, and it's not working right. So we're like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll go up to the front. We'll just wait. And like when you're at the front, you can kind of see the kitchen. And the guy's like, we're just shut down we're not going to take any more orders right now. Like, let's focus on these next 5. And Kate was like, 2319, 2319. And it's just really funny. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what this moment is all about. Just made me think of it.
Nice.
Always bringing it back to McDonald's.
Always bring it back to McDonald's. I can bring most things back to McDonald's if you want me to. All right, go for it, Andrew. Number two?
Yeah, Andrew too.
My number two is The Incredibles 2. Um,
Incredibles 2, huh?
yeah, and like I said, I knew both of them would be in my top five. I just didn't know which one was gonna go where. Um, and like even now in this moment, I'm thinking I should have put Incredibles 1 above it. But just my reason, I guess, for having this on the list. And before we started recording this, we asked if we had done a top five or if we just done the top five ranked or just top five in general. And that this was the reason I had asked about that. But this is what I wrote down on my index card, so I'm going to stick with it. I just really liked Incredibles 2. I thought it held up as a sequel. We can have a conversation about this too, because we've been pretty in agreement with most of the stuff we've said so far. But I really liked it. Like I thought. True. Like it picks up again right out where the first one left off. I will say, they never catch the Underminer, which is a big inconsistency. But they acknowledge that in the film, and then it was like interesting to see more of them like living lives as superheroes, but not being able to. I also really liked how Bob could like trying to be a dad, saying how like being a stay-at-home dad was not working for him, and Jack will always be like my favorite part of that movie. Yeah. So was there any? Yeah. I can't think if there's any other like specific moments I liked about that movie, but
I liked
in general, it was a lot of fun.
When Elastigirl turned into like a motorcycle or something. That was cool. Or she was like driving a motorcycle. The whole motorcycle scene in like the middle of the movie was cool with the trains and.
So I think The Incredibles 1 was probably like my favorite movie growing up. It has just an incredible score. And so when Incredibles 2 came out, my friend and I, we saw it. We saw like one of those Thursday night premieres, and we both loved it. And Frozone is the unsung hero of that movie. Like, we went through the second time we went to see it, and there was like 9 or 10 instances where he like is the reason that they succeeded in whatever scene it was. So that's an interesting thing to look at if you ever get around to rewatching that one.
So you're saying that they would have lost and died if it were not for Frozone?
Yeah. Like I guess one instance, like he goes to protect the kids when Bob goes to rescue Helen, and he's the one who activates the voice command in the Incredimobile, so Dash and Violet can put their voices into the recognition. And then on the cruise ship, he's the one who like makes it snow so the boat doesn't smash into the land.
I think I've only seen that movie once. Like I kind of vaguely recollect it.
I saw it like I think I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then when the pandemic hit, like at the height of it, my parents and my sister and we would do like a movie night because we couldn't go anywhere, and that was the first movie I suggested we watch. And my parents got a kick out of the new Math scene.
New Math.
Did we talk about this on here? Colby didn't know New Math was actually a thing.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing.
Math is super weird nowadays.
So I always thought it was a saying people said. I thought it was kind of like a joke. I had no idea that it was a legit.
It's like New Math.
Thing.
No, Math is super weird. Like the weirdest of weird.
Leave it alone.
I don't know. They come up with like there's like a grid system.
And they had to ruin it. Just like everything else.
Just had to go and ruin Math.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Math has, for the most part, stayed the same throughout history. Why?
As far as I'm aware, yes. I haven't taken a history of math course, but because there probably isn't one.
You don't know that. There might be.
Yeah.
It's true. That's true.
Jeez, Andrew,
Okay.
with your assumptions.
Yeah, pull
Sorry,
yourself
it's just the
together.
English teacher. It's just the English teacher in me.
What are you doing, man? All right, should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
good.
Where are we at?
So
Colby's number
Colby is
yep,
number 2. Yep.
my numero 2. I'm gonna go with Ratatouille. Ratatouille.
Nice.
Um,
two.
I'm a
Ratty
sucker
tatty.
for them, the cooking videos and stuff, cooking tutorials, cooking show. I'm just saying, the Great British Bake Off. Oh, great show, classic cinema. Uh,
Do you bake or you just watch?
I'd prefer not to answer that question.
Okay, just watch then.
I'm
Yep.
more of a Whole House tub cookie dough guy myself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I made Toll House cookies yesterday.
Were they good?
They're gone now.
Oh,
He done eat them
nice.
all.
Um, so yeah, I think I love Ratatouille. I'm a sucker for the cooking stuff, and I felt betrayed when I found out that the actual Ratatouille dish is not like meat and stuff, and it's all vegetables. I felt real
Yeah.
betrayed. That was a dark day for me. I didn't know that until I was like 18,
That's a
and
little
I felt
rough.
real. Yeah, it was a little rough because
Yeah.
I always wanted that, and now I very strongly do not want it. Um,
Not a vegetable guy.
no, especially not. It's like eggplant and stuff. I think it's like weird vegetables too. Who eats eggplant? Like, come on,
Yeah,
is that even a
I'm not.
plant?
No. Well, it grows on a plant.
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't count, does it? I don't think that qualifies
No,
it for anything.
no, it's just
Um,
bullshit.
no, so I think
Sounds like
Ratatouille
rat.
is up there.
That's a good.
I think I like French stuff too. I think just the French setting is really cool, being in Paris and everything. I love the restaurant and everything, all the details. I think my favorite part of that movie, and they only did it once, which really, really sucks. I wish they did it more, is when he's eating different foods and he's like in his head going over the different concoctions, and they have like weird, vibrant lights and stuff of him mixing the flavors together and
Yes.
stuff. It's really cool, and they only did it once in the movie, and I really wish they did it more. Um, I will put this out there: Ratatouille does not need a sequel. Don't make one. We don't need a Ratatouille 2.
Or a musical.
Or musical. Definitely don't need a musical. No,
Shouting out to TikTok.
A Broadway
but that's
musical.
my number 2. Going with Ratatouille.
All right.
So I
Can't
have a
argue with
question,
that.
Colby, just before Steve gives his. Is this the only film that you appreciate Will Arnett in?
Uh,
The
Stunned
dead
silence.
silence.
who? Andrew, do I hate Ratatouille now? Who's Will Arnett in this movie?
He plays with his brother.
No. What? Are you sure?
Oh. Horst.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
I just ruined the movie. Oh, I'm sorry. He's the chef with the thumb.
Chef with a
Oh.
thumb.
Yeah, he's fine. He's got like one line. Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
Andrew, I thought you were about to ruin Ratatouille for me, man.
I thought I was too.
Yeah,
That was a long
yeah,
silence.
yeah. No, I honestly had to pause. I didn't know how to respond to that. I was like, oh my god, is my least favorite person on the planet in one of my favorite movies? I'm gonna cry. Oh god, scared me. My heart's still pounding, man.
Well,
We're good though.
I'm happy that it didn't affect you.
Yeah, no, that was. I think that's Will Arnett's best role. He says he killed somebody with his thumb, and then he moves on. I think that was all we needed from him.
There you go.
Supporting cast. All right, Steve, you're up. Number 2.
Okay, so you can't have a top 5 Pixar list without a Toy Story. I just couldn't ultimately decide until the very end. I think Toy Story 2.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of the 4 of them, Toy Story 2 is my favorite. But go on, Steve.
It's just, I think I just have the most fun watching it, and I think like the gang is the gang. Like you get the Buzz Lightyears and the Hams and the Woodies and the Bo Peeps and stuff from the original. But like when you add Bullseye and Jesse and um what's his name, Stinky Pete there, I don't know. I just had a lot more fun with the second one, and like you meet Zurg in the second one, right? In the toy store and toy barn, and like my favorite line in the whole movie when he's upset about Al is upset about having to drive to work on a Saturday, and he like pulls out of the driveway of the apartment and he drives across the street and he's at work. Like that gets me
That was
every
pretty
time,
good.
and it's just fun. I just think that one's the most fun to watch for me personally. I can understand the merits of 1 and 3. 4, like 1, 2, and 3 are almost like perfect movies, separate and together. And the fourth one is like kind of its own thing. It just doesn't
It's
have the
just kind of
same.
there.
Yeah, it's almost like it should have been a Disney Plus movie. It just was before Disney Plus. Like,
That is a perfect way of describing it. It's
yeah, like
good,
it just didn't need to exist, but it's
but
fine that it
right.
exists, but it's not in the same realm of quality as the first 3.
No.
And
Mhm.
I just decided the second one is probably the one I've seen the most. And I would assume because I've seen the most, it means I probably like it the most. So keeping it
makes sense.
short and simple there.
Yeah. So I'll just throw it out there now. My number one was Toy Story 2, which is what was next in the rotation. So I'll just back off of that right now. Yeah, I love Toy Story. There's just so many good scenes in that movie. Not to say the other ones don't, but like the scene of them with the traffic cones when they're trying to cross the street is hilarious. The scene with the 2 buzzes and then the wall of buzzes, like at the toy store,
Yeah.
and like tour guide Barbie, is hilarious. But my favorite line in that movie is when they're on top of the elevator and Zurg says, "No, Buzz, I am your father," and Buzz just goes, "No!" Very, very
Oh,
dramatic. And
I'm
then
gonna
There
stay
is.
back and
they,
play catch with my dad.
I
yeah,
do
he's like, "Oh,
appreciate the
oh,
sheer amount of Star Wars references in that movie. They did a good job.
yep."
Yeah, they crushed it
Oh,
with
and then
that.
Rex, I beat Zurg when he hits him with his tail.
Yeah. They must have had like really good writers for that one compared to the other, like
And
exceptional writers.
here's a general Pixar question: why did they stop doing the animated bloopers?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I
That
always
was
love those.
like awesome.
But it probably also takes like weeks to do them, and they're like, "Fuck it, cut it from the budget. Like we don't need to do those." You know how they
Yeah,
and
they
I just
probably,
appreciate, yeah, and I appreciate the fact that Toy Story, as we mentioned, was the first animated film, and it had that.
yeah, maybe it was just a hallmark to Toy Story.
Maybe I think the
Now,
Buzz Life and Monsters Inc.
Steve,
did it as well, though.
I know you
Yeah, Bugs
never
Life.
watch Cars as a hater over there, but I will have you know their bloopers at the end are bloopers for like Toy Story, Cars, Bugs Life, and they're all Cars.
Yeah,
They're all, and it's
that's pretty good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I've
Like
seen the
Mike
Cars
was
movies.
supposed to be
I just don't like them.
whatever, man. Whatever.
That's fine. It's fine. Fine. All right.
I
So
don't care.
Toy Story 2 is Andrew's 1. So Colby, what is your? Should we try to guess your 1?
You can guess it.
Oh.
Go for it.
all
Let's
right.
see.
I gotta think about this. trying to think of what his other list was.
And
You already said
just
Wall-E.
so you guys know, if you name one of the movies that's in my top 3 worst, I'll give you a brownie point for it. So just don't try to do that. But if you do it, I'm very impressed.
So if we think your number 1 Pixar movie ends up in your worst list, that's pretty bad.
Yes, forget it. I'm probably never talking to you guys again. But we can continue. Yeah, you try to guess.
Well, this was a short-lived podcast.
I'm gonna go with A Bug's Life.
No, not a
Interesting.
Bug's Life.
Okay. I'm gonna go with. Oh, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Cars.
It's not Cars. I will say it is
Okay.
one of the movies you guys have already mentioned.
All
So
right.
it's a Toy Story.
It's not. It's not a Toy Story.
No, it's a Monsters Inc., isn't it?
It's Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it's
There
gotta
you
be.
go.
Monsters Inc. is
There
good.
you
It's
go.
just a classically good
It is
movie.
pretty good.
It is my favorite pick. You could put that on any day of the week. I'll sit there and watch it. I'm just like glued to the screen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's so funny. I think it's so original. Like I can't think of any other movies before that were like that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
door stuff, it just blows. I love it so much. It's so creative. Every time they open a door and there's just literally a different world or different portal to another part of the world. Like it's
Right.
so imaginative. Like it's never been done before. Like you were saying earlier, Boo is adorable. Especially when they give her the little costume that she's running around with, and like the hood parts like bouncing up and down so she can barely see where she's going. The abominable snowman at the end when he's like offering them snow cones, yellow snow cones. Nothing's better than that.
That's
I know
true.
what it is, and I still want one. They just look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. It's P,
Yeah,
by
it's
the
just
way.
it's classic. Thanks. You know, I wasn't sure up until this moment, but I'm glad you clarified.
It's not
that.
lemonade. It's not lemonade.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think, and honestly, I feel that's one of like the movies I remember watching the most. Like you had mentioned earlier, when you were like, "Oh, Toy Story 2 is the Toy Story I've seen the most, so I must like it the most." That's kind of how I landed with Monsters Inc. I think it's one of the movies that I've seen the most, even just of all movies. I think I've seen that movie so many times, it must be on my
Mhm.
top list by default. I
Makes
remember
sense.
vividly having the VHS tape for that movie, and it was a blue VHS tape, which was amazing.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think I might even still have it somewhere, but yeah, that's my number one. I gotta love Monsters Inc.
All right.
Good choice.
What about you, Steve?
You want to guess on my number one?
Oh God, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Hmm.
As you go first.
I'm gonna guess Finding Nemo.
Nailed it.
Boom.
I
Mic
was
drop.
towards that one too.
Well, if you remember from last week, like we did like our top 10 movies ever, Finding Nemo was on
Yep.
my list. So
That's why I
feel
was
like
gonna say
Yes.
that.
if
That's
if I put it on that list with like live action movies, it probably should be my number one Pixar movie. When this movie came out, it was what year? 2003. So I was 12,
Yes.
going on 13, and my mom used to work at like 5 in the morning some days, so I'd have to like get myself up and get to school. But whenever she woke up to like get ready for work at like 4:30, half the time I would wake up and not want to go back to bed, or like what I was just up for the day, and she would always just put on Finding Nemo because we had the DVD, because like the water and the sounds and like the whatever would always like help me fall back to sleep. So by default, I've seen this movie like hundreds of times because I've either watched the whole thing at like 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm awake for the day and don't have to go to school for 3 hours, or it was like my movie to fall back to sleep to. And it's just a tremendous movie that I could watch at any time just based on what it looks like and like how it's aged so well. I mean, it's 20 years old and it still looks as good as the animated movies today, like we said earlier. So it's just an easy number one, and I don't know if anything like I'm pretty confident to say that like no new Pixar movie will probably ever top it. For me, at least.
I agree with that.
Yes. I think so. The last Pixar movie I saw in theaters was Onward, and I saw that like 2 weeks, maybe a week before the pandemic hit. And I loved Onward, and I loved when they moved Pixar movies to being Disney Plus. My incentive to watch them went down.
Yeah. Yeah, the quality just didn't seem as good. I don't know. But like if you
Mhm.
look at if you just scroll through the list of Pixar movies, like the first 10 are like absolute bangers, and then like
Mhm.
none of our movies came from the last 7 or 8. Like the last 7 or 8
Yeah,
have not been that good.
I mean,
So like they're
if
not
you look at our
trending
Right.
list,
in a good
our
direction.
list consists of movies that have all come out, with the exception of maybe The Incredibles 2. I think
True.
all
True.
of our lists consist within the first like 10 years of Pixar.
Yeah. I don't know, they're
Because they're
not
all very
trending in the best direction, which is not a good thing. That's not to say there isn't good newer like Onward isn't a bad movie, but it's not a top 5. I didn't mind
No,
Soul. I didn't
I
mind
like Soul.
Luca. Like there Elemental wasn't bad. It's just not a top 5 movie. That's for sure.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I watched Elemental recently, and I didn't hate it. I thought there was some neat stuff in it, but it just didn't have that same Pixar magic as some of the other movies had.
Yeah, I think we've seen too much of it. It's like there's not the original ideas just aren't quite there as much.
Well, yeah, and I think
Right.
there's been movies where fire, earth, water. Like I feel like that's not even an original concept.
No, not really.
So I mean, there wasn't really anything new about it. I mean, back in the day, talking toys that was pretty original.
Yeah.
Talking
Right.
bugs that was original. Monsters, cars. I mean, a lot of that stuff was original. Love it or hate it, but it was.
Mhm.
I think they've
I mean, it's
kind
hard
of
to be original now.
run out of ideas nowadays, which could be why they're doing so many sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Alright,
So, do we want to?
Andrew, do you want to run through just rattle off your top 5 again, just like as a
Sure.
general overview?
So yeah, number 5, I had Finding Nemo. Number 4, I had The Incredibles. Number 3, I had Cars. Number 2, I had The Incredibles 2. And number 1, I had Toy Story 2.
Pretty good lists.
I agree.
glad you agree about your own list.
Thank you. Thank you.
So going in reverse order, so 5-1. I've got Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3, Wall-E, Ratatouille, and Monsters Inc.
Nice. And
Very
then
good.
I go 5-1. I got Incredibles, Up, Monsters Inc., Toy Story 2, and Finding Nemo. So we had a lot of overlap for sure.
Yeah, we had a lot of
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Wall-E was an honorable mention. I also wrote all other Toy Story movies as an honorable mention because I only put
Pretty much.
one, but like even the fourth one is like watchable and like it's like Star Wars for
Yeah.
me. Like I just want to hang out with the Toy Story characters. Like I'm cool with that.
Mhm.
So let's just do that. And then I also wrote Coco. I thought Coco is probably the best movie of like the best Pixar movie of the last like what 8-10 years for me.
Yeah, I like Coco a lot.
It's pretty
And
good.
then the movie that everyone hates that I actually really like is The Good Dinosaur, but I could not put it in my top 5. There's just no way. It's
Yeah.
not top 5 worthy, but I
Um,
just enjoy dinosaurs, so I just like that movie.
Kind of have a conflict of
Nice.
interest here.
All right, so we did
Because,
come up with bottom 3, right? Do we want to just like
Yeah.
rattle them off?
Go for it.
yeah, we
Andrew.
can do one at a time. So, my bottom 3, I have not seen one of them. So, I have a substitute if you guys would prefer me to have it stuff
I
I've
would
seen.
say if you haven't seen it, don't put it on your list.
Well, what have
Okay,
you
so
seen?
my bottom 3, the first one I had that I have not seen is Lightyear
Okay.
because I have not heard a single good thing about that movie and I have no desire to watch it ever. So, instead, I'll put Cars 3 on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like Cars 3.
No, makes
Like
sense.
I've said, I think I don't see the need. I like the idea of Lightning getting into a car accident and having to like rediscover everything, but not like rebranding him entirely. My second one This is a pretty straight list too. Like I don't think I could rank these, but just in order of what I have written down is Monsters University. I really did not like that
Really?
movie. Yeah, it
Yeah, that
just
one wasn't great, but like I just can't put monsters on my bottom.
that's fair. I respect that. It just wasn't for me. And then this might be a hot take to some people. I did not care for Brave at all.
Nope,
Yeah,
that's not a hot take because that's on my bottom too. That movie sucks.
Okay, yeah, I that was just boring.
There's no redeeming qualities to that movie.
No,
It's
It
just a
sucks.
none at
bad
all.
movie. So
All right,
Even
cool.
have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, the second one?
yeah, I
Yeah,
like both of those.
They
I did
even
too.
make fun of it in that movie. There's a part in the movie where they're like hanging out with all the Disney princesses, and Merida is in the room, and she says something weird and wacky, and one of the princesses goes like, "Oh yeah, she was from a different studio or something." Like they know people don't like it because it's so weird.
Okay, I didn't know that. I for some reason I thought that movie was more appreciated.
No,
I
I
think
Not to
I think
say it
it's
isn't, but
equally-
just
made
okay.
my list.
Cool.
That was the first. Like I didn't even look at the Pixar like list of movies yet, but I already wrote that in my bottom without even looking. So
All right,
that was an easy one.
cool.
What do you got, Colby?
Okay, so so sorry, Steve. I'm so sorry.
You gonna
The
do
big
this? Huh?
dinosaur.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
did it. I did it.
You don't like the
I
Good Dinosaur?
All right, hear me out. I love dinosaurs, man. I love them. Even the terrible Jurassic Park movies, I'm sucked in. I love it. It's just so boring. It's so boring.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking for sure.
It's a lot of walking, and the animation looks real weird. I don't
Well,
like the way the dinosaurs.
I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and they just walk for 11 hours, so
That
I'm
is
cool with
true.
it.
I'm pretty
It's
sure.
true.
I'm
True.
pretty sure out of the 12 hours that Lord of the Rings is on screen, 9.5 is just walking.
Yep, that's all it is. Just a long
So yeah,
walk.
I think my biggest thing is I don't like the way the dinosaurs look. I think they look real wonky.
They're too
Um,
simple for sure.
it's almost like they dumbed it down a little bit too much, which is
Yeah,
weird because usually Pixar's all about detail.
I think that was one of those Pixar movies that like I feel like Pixar movies are aimed for like the maybe like 7 to 12 area, and that was like a 4 to 8 range
Yeah, I
of
can
like
see that.
kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like aimed for younger kids, not just young
Yeah.
kids. But I don't
Um,
know. I just enjoyed it. I'll tell you a weird thing about it though is that it came out before we had Amelia, obviously, and me and Kate went on like a weekend vacation, like not a vacation, but like we lived
Just
in
a
Mass,
getaway?
so yeah, we went to like New Hampshire or Vermont or whatever for the weekend, and
yeah,
we
Yeah.
didn't really have plans, and like we were gonna go to like a museum and end up being closed, so we were like, screw it, we'll just go to the movies. And the only thing that was like really playing worth seeing that made sense was The Good Dinosaur. So me and Kate went to that, and I was like, yeah, like that'll be fine. It was packed house. I mean, packed house
really?
with families and little kids, and then me and her just like in the middle of it all. And I was like, we're gonna get arrested. Like we're here without kids in the middle of this movie theater,
Oh no!
packed full of kids, packed full of like moms, and like it was crazy. I was like, we need to go. Like I don't want to be here. Like I remember the experience being uncomfortable, but I enjoyed the movie overall. So, but I will remember
What a
that
great
experience
story to go
forever.
along with it.
Yeah.
Um, so just like Andrew, I think all of these I hate equally. To be honest,
Yeah.
Cars 3 makes an appearance on my list. Shouldn't
Yeah.
have made it. Don't know why. It's it's actually I think a bad movie. I don't really think there's any redeeming qualities of it. I mean, a lot of people hate Cars 2, and I totally get why people don't like it. They should have just stopped there.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I agree 100%.
I think Toy Story, or they got away with making the sequels for 2 and 3. We didn't need 4. It wasn't terrible, but we didn't need it. I don't think Pixar's strength is with sequels. I just don't think they're very good with it.
Yeah.
Early on, yes, but not recently.
Yeah, so I don't think that Cars 3 was anything anybody asked for. And so I actually couldn't decide between the two for my third one.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Brave
Yep.
because enough said, and I actually have Luca on my list.
Luca was a weird one, but I was okay with it.
And so my reasoning for Luca is also because I felt bored the whole time watching that movie.
Yeah.
Like, not much happened. There wasn't really much going on. I definitely, even though it's on my worst list of Pixar movies, it's still decent, but it's not better than anything else that's above it.
No, definitely not.
Fair enough. Yeah, it gets to be that point.
I just think that it was weird because it was human characters. So that was, I know they've done it with Incredibles and stuff like that, but I wasn't really attached to the human characters that were in it because they were kids and didn't really relate with me or whatever. So they kind of lost me with the emotional aspect of it. And then the actual story, just the plot didn't seem like there was much to it. It was like a mermaid that washed up on the beach and is now a boy for a couple days, and they're just running around. I guess it's fine, but it didn't really catch my eye. But if I were to if I had to really pick between the two, Brave is worse than Luca for sure. For sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? What do you got?
So for my 3, I got Cars 1, Cars 2, and Cars 3.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I put
you better be kidding.
I don't particularly like the Cars movies, but I can understand how the first 2 are good Pixar movies. They're just not my type of movie, and I just don't enjoy them. But
I wouldn't say the
Cars
second
3.
one is okay.
I put 3 as one of mine because I had to put one of the Cars movies since I talked so heavily about hating them. So I had to pick one. I picked 3. So
you had to commit to it.
Yeah, and then Brave was the easy choice. I wrote down my top movie as Finding Nemo. That was pretty quick without even opening the IMDb page. But then my second thing I wrote down was Brave as the worst movie ever because it is.
Brave is so bad.
And then my third one is Turning Red. It's
That's
just
the only
weird
movie I've never
movie.
seen.
It's
I haven't seen that one either.
It's essentially about a girl coming of age and getting her period. In a weird Yes, in a weird fucked up way.
It's all about
it's about a red panda, but that red panda stands for something else.
That's super weird. I honestly had no idea what that movie was even about. I just never cared to watch it.
Yeah, and it's her mom is challenging, and they're trying to coexist, and there's a lot of layers and levels to it, and that's just kind of the background of it. It just didn't hit me. I think because I'm not a girl going through puberty, it just didn't make sense.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe it's not a bad movie, but it's so unrelatable for me that I'm just maybe watch it at some point again.
Unrelatable. It is odd because most of the time Pixar, regardless of what the themes are of the movie, make it relatable to just about everybody.
Yeah,
they do a really good job.
They went total opposite direction on this one, so I was a little surprised by it. Plus, it was a direct-to-Disney Plus movie, and I just feel like most of those haven't been as good.
Yeah, I skipped that one. The second I saw it was direct-to-Disney Plus. I'm good.
Yeah. And then I had an honorable mention of Lightyear. I just think I had expectations of what a Lightyear origin story would be. And I thought it was going to be about the toy, and I know they marketed it as about the guy and not about the toy. It's about the guy that the toy's based on, but it's I don't give a shit about the guy the toy's based on. I care about the silly Tim Allen toy, not the Chris Evans guy which
also doesn't make sense.
Buzz Lightyear.
I really liked that concept.
It just didn't come across well, though.
Right, as I mentioned, I haven't seen it, but I thought it was interesting to have voice of the toy be different than the voice actually in it, in just like different ways. But I liked the idea of it, and it sounded good on paper. It just did not translate well from what I've heard.
But also, I feel like I heard that they wanted Tim Allen to come back as like the voice, but like he's apparently like really political these days, and they like weren't happy with his political stances, and that's why he didn't voice him again. But I could be wrong on that sense. But I feel like I read something about that.
No,
Interesting. I
I
hadn't
mean,
heard that.
I don't. I hadn't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised because Disney's done that with a lot of actors lately.
Their
Anytime
political
an
They're
actor,
still doing the Santa Claus.
yeah, anytime an actor pops up on anything, they say anything political online or whatever, good or bad, or it's political, so it's whatever your point of view is. Whenever they post anything, Disney ends up canning them a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For no reason. Again, even if it's good or bad, whatever it is, but I think it's more of the standpoint they just don't want to be involved, which is fine, but also that's not how that should work.
Yeah.
Like,
Makes sense.
you base them off their work, not whatever their political. Like, as long as they're not doing anything malicious, of course, or saying things that are like racist or edgy or something, but like, yeah, as long as it's fine, it's just let them be. Who cares? Whatever. Look at Tom.
Makes sense to
He's
me.
a Scientologist. I don't hate him.
No, I love Tom.
No, yeah.
All right, so I got some random Pixar questions that we could do in like a more rapid fire succession to like end it all.
Yeah,
If
let's
that
do
makes
it.
All
sense.
right, I like that.
All
Yeah.
right, the toughest one right at the front. Who's the best overall Pixar character? Stunned silence.
I was not prepared for that question.
No.
Like if there's one character that you could like hang out with in real life, or like lead a movie that you make about whatever, like who's just the best? Who's the best overall character?
I'm gonna have to go with. If Stitch was a Pixar character, he'd be my number one. But
It's a great choice.
Yeah, but he's not.
we can retroactive that, right?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask. Who do you have?
Steve,
Do you have an answer?
I was going to say, Steve, give you answer while we think.
I mean, Buzz Lightyear is an easy one for me. I think there's
That's
just
kind of what I
nothing-
was thinking. I was thinking a Toy Story character.
It's got to be a Toy Story character, because I also have another question: is best squad. So like,
Yeah, Toy Story.
which movie has the best squad?
Toys,
It's got to
yeah.
be Toy Story, right? Like I was
Yeah.
thinking
Right.
Incredibles. Like the Incredibles is a pretty good squad. Like the kind of unit of like the Finding Nemo is kind of good, but like there's nothing better than the Toy Story squad, right?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I like Buzz Lightyear would be pretty dope.
All right, what?
So I was gonna say Woody,
You can go Woody. Nothing wrong with Woody.
but then you said who you'd like want to hang out with, and my brain immediately went to Bing Bong from Inside Out.
Oh, Bing Bong.
Hear me out.
Mm.
Bing Bong.
I don't know that you would want to hang out with Woody. Well, at least not Toy Story 1 Woody, because Toy Story 1 Woody, he's kind of a dick.
He's very
He
serious.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of a jackass, dude. He knocks Buzz right out the window. That ain't cool.
No.
He's not a great guy in that first movie. He grows on you. He gets better,
No,
but
he
that first
isn't.
one, he's pretty rough. He's a jerk. All right, what's your next question? Let's go.
What's the best single scene from any Pixar movie?
Oh, okay.
The claw.
Which, like Toy Story 3 claw scene at the end?
Yeah, just because
So-
of how it came together.
My thought on this one is the end scene of Toy Story 1 when they're trying to get from like the whole race sequence with the moving truck and the car
Into the
and they
moving
have to,
truck.
like,
Yeah.
and they have to float into. I'm not aiming for the moving truck, and they like fall in the car. Like that whole scene is kind of like big ballin', and that's the first movie, so they set the bar
We're
pretty
not
high.
flying. We're falling with
So-
style.
Yeah,
To no surprise, I'm going with the Monsters Inc. Boo is compacted into the cube. Nothing to
Yep.
me is funnier than Sully's face when that happens. And if you can't recollect it, I recommend you go watch it because it is so funny. And the thing is I never noticed it until like 4 or 5 years ago how funny that scene was. Like
Yeah.
once it like clicked at me, I was dying laughing because his facial expressions are just crazy. And you can just pause it randomly on any one of those facial expressions and you'll start crying laughing. It's so funny.
Nice.
I'm going with that one.
Just looked at some Google images. Oh, sorry.
Most deserving of a sequel. So you got to take out all the movies that already have sequels. Like,
I can't pick Toy Story 5 or Cars 4.
No, you got to do like a. So for me, I think it'd be Coco.
If we could,
I'd like to do a See It Coco too. And we're getting an Inside Out 2 next year.
Are we?
I
didn't know that.
We are. I did not know that.
In June.
I liked Inside Out.
It's a good one. Solid.
I did too.
If we did top 10, it probably would be like my 9 or 10.
I feel like now I don't know if I really want a sequel to it, but if I had to pick one, I'd love to see a continuation of WALL-E. I'm very intrigued with how they, because at the end of WALL-E they come back to Earth because they found it is viable and can host life. I'd be very intrigued to see how they cleaned up everything and integrated the futuristic tech with living on Earth. Like I just think that would be kind of neat.
Cool. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I think I would have gone with WALL-E too.
Typical.
Also, not two.
And not saying that I want a sequel to WALL-E, but if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd pick with.
Yeah, if you had to pick one, that's the one. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Most rewatchable. I think that would just be our top choices. Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I got Monsters Inc. still.
Who's the best secondary character? So not like a main character, but like a side character that you just love.
Mike Wazowski.
I was gonna say.
Is he not a main character though?
I would say Sully is.
Yeah,
in the sequel they focused on Mike Wazowski.
I was gonna say the aliens from Toy Story. I just think they're great.
Yeah, you know what? If I could have a movie about them, I would.
Or,
it's like Pixar's Minions.
No, I was gonna say, Andrew, don't open that can of worms because then we're gonna have minions everywhere. We don't need that. Take your minions and leave them out of this.
Or Doug
sorry, can's been opened and it ain't done pouring.
Or Hank from Finding Dory. I like Hank.
I like that.
Pretty dope.
I would probably say Frozone.
Frozone's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
What's the best looking movie still?
Best looking? I feel like Nemo's gotta be mentioned.
I was gonna say Finding Nemo. Yeah,
it's impressive that it's 20 years old and probably still looks the best.
Yeah, I think Nemo might still be the best looking Pixar movie.
I don't remember, but like, did Luca look as good with the water?
I think it looked all right, but I feel like it was just a different. Nemo is a different breed of film development,
right.
And I also think it had a much higher budget than Luca did.
True.
Because if you remember, Luca went straight to Disney Plus too. I think it was supposed to get a theatrical release, but it went straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah, that was one that I think was supposed to be in theaters, but COVID changed that.
Yeah, I remember that. All right, last question. If you could have any one item from any movie as like a collectible, what would you have? Like, is there one cool thing from any of the movies that you're like, I just need to have that? I think for me, it would be the Pizza Planet truck.
I was just gonna say that.
As my daily driver, just the Pizza Planet truck.
Yes.
It'd be awesome.
I was gonna say that one also.
All right. So most of our questions went back to Toy Story. So I think we've definitively answered the best Pixar, and it's got to be just Toy Story as a whole.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
I don't think there's any arguing that. I don't think. I think it would take a lot of effort to find somebody who doesn't have one of the Toy Stories in their top. I would say even 3 Pixar lists. I mean, I'm obviously
Right.
crazy. Number 4, I think, or 5. I don't know. It wasn't top 3, but I think most people would have it. One of them in their top 3.
Yeah.
They're just solid movies. They're great.
Yeah,
they
they
just
are.
did it right. They knew what they were doing. And there it is. Pixar in a nutshell.
Yes.
Do we have any
That's right.
ideas of what we want to do for next time?
Do you wanna end it and then we'll think about it a little bit more, or do you wanna leave it here? I don't really have anything that I
Doesn't
thought
matter.
of.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't have to figure out something now either. We can figure something out later too.
Yeah, why don't we
Right.
do that? Because I got nothing.
That might be the case.
Update
We did
for oh my god, what was that movie I was watching? Oh
Blade
my
Runner?
god. Blade Runner. Yes. With Harry Ford in it. Never
Harry
finished it.
Ford.
Never went back. I never went back. And my
When I
rental-
did, okay, when I did the intro, I almost said, "And we will not be talking about Blade Runner this week."
And we will continue to not talk about Blade Runner this week because I haven't even bought it yet.
I didn't buy.
That's
I
like-
rented it.
Me
And my rental
neither.
expired. I was like, I'm not renting it again.
Well, there you go.
We'll watch it eventually.
Put that to the
It'll-
list of films we will never watch again.
Blade Runner.
Or ever watch.
Probably a fantastic movie, but it's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. All
And
right.
on that
Well,
note,
any final thoughts, anybody, before we end this?
love Pixar.
I think
Even if the most recent ones haven't been fantastic, just keep pumping them out and they'll hit their stride again.
I agree with that.
There it
All
is.
right.
yes.
Check you folks later.
Bye.
Thank you all for
Later.
listening.